Shri Matre Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Today, I want to bring to your notice that the great literature is called Sangam, especially in Tamil Nadu state, Tamil language. It is one of the most ancient literature like Sanskrit, etc. It also got world famous. So, in this regard, I would like to give you the detailed description. So, first prayer. Samvatsara karoshvattaha kalachakro vibhavasuhu purushaha shashvato yogaha vyakta vyakta sanatanaha. Early classical Tamil literature is represented by 8 anthologies of lyrics, 10 long poems, and a grammar called Tolkappiyam. According to a fanciful Tamil tradition, this literature was produced by poets of 3 academies or sangams that in the hoary past were entered in the southern Indian city of Madurai and supposedly lasted 4,400, 3,700 and 1,850 years respectively. The Tolkappiyam was ascribed to the second Sangam, the 8 anthologies and 10 long poems to the third. According to the tradition, nothing is extant from the first Sangam. The early each and assigned to 473 poets who are known by name or epithet. About 100 poems are anonymous. Though the literature does not go back as far as native tradition would have it, it is generally ascribed to the first 3 centuries of the Christian era and represents the oldest non-Sanskrit literature to be found on the South Asian subcontinent. The 8 anthologies and their contents, excluding open invocations that were added later by as follows: Agam anthologies, consisting of 1. Kuruntogai, 4,000 love poems. 2. Narrinai, 400 love poems. 3. Akananur, 400 love poems. 4. Ainkuru Nur, 500 love poems. Each 100 assigned to a different poet dealing with one of 5 phases of love. 5th one, Kalit Togai, 150 love poems in a meter called Kali. And Puram anthologies consisting of 6. Purananur, 400 poems. Padirupatru, 100 poems on kings. And 8. Paripatal, a collection of 70 religious poems. Paripatal and Kalit Togai appear to be the latest of the anthologies. Karun Togai and Purananur probably contain the earliest compositions. The remarkable work of grammar and rhetoric, Tolkappiyam is a crucial text for an understanding of early Tamil language and literature. Divided into 3 sections: sound, words, and meaning. The Tolkappiyam details in the third and canons of Sangam poet literature. In the Tolkappiyam and the anthologies, poems are classified by theme into Agam, interior, and Puram, exterior. The former highly structured love poems, the latter heroic poems on war, death, personal virtues, the ferocity and glory of kings, and the poverty of poets. Both the Agam and Puram had well defined genres that paralleled one another. Example, the Kurinji genre in love poetry, which dealt with the lovers' clandestine union on a hillside by night, and the Vetsi genre in heroic poetry, which dealt with the first onset of war by nightly cattle stealing. Both Kurinji and Vetchi are names of flowers that grow on the hillside, here symbolic of the poetic genre, the mood, and the theme. By such pairings across the Agam and Puram, love and war become part of the same universe and metaphors for one another. The same poet, for example, Puranur and Kapilar, wrote great poems in both genres. The basic technique depended on a taxonomy of Tamil Nadu nature and culture of culturally defined time, space, nature, and human nature. For example, matched in metaphor with five phases of Agam. Love are six seasons, six parts, and they are dawn, forenoon, noon, afternoon, evening, and night of the day. And five landscapes they are hill, seashore, forest, pasture, and wasteland, named after characteristic flower Kurinji, nettle, mullai, and marudam. And the evergreen tree palai and their contents including gods, foods, birds, beasts, drums, occupations, lutes, musical styles, flowers, and kinds of running or standing water. Each landscape becomes a repertoire of images. Anything in it, bird or drum, tribal name or dance, may evoke a specific feeling. A favorite poetic device is Ullurai. Thus, the natural scene implicitly evokes the human scene. For example, bees making honey out of Kurinji flowers evokes a flowers union. Not only is the poet's language Tamil, but the landscapes, the personal and the appropriate moods and situations formulate the realities of the Tamil world into a code of symbols. For some five or six generations, the Sangam poets spoke this common language or symbols, creating a body of lyrical poetry, probably unequaled passion, maturity, and delicacy by anything in any Indian literature. Now, 18 ethical works. It is usually dated as post Sangam or all affected by Jainism and Buddhism. Of these, the Tirukural ascribed to Tiruvalluvar is the most celebrated. Its 1,330 hemistichs are probably the final distillation of different periods. There are many parallels in the work to the Sanskrit Kama Sutra, the treatise on erotic love, to Manusmriti, an ancient treatise on special obligation and religious law, and to Arthashastra, Kautilya's treatise on politics. The Kural has three sections: Aram or virtue, Porul, government and society, and Kamam, love. There is no special treatment of moksha or salvation, though Aram sees to include it. In the Aram section, the Kural sums up a world affirming wisdom, the wisdom of human sympathy, expanding from wife, children, and friends to clan, village, and country. In the Porul section, the aphorisms project a vision of an ideal state based on educated human nature and relate the good citizen to the good man. Prostitution, disease, drink, and gambling are listed with foreign enemies as dangerous to the state. Epics. The age of the Pallavas, a warrior dynasty of Hindu kings, is known for its epics beginning with Shilappadikaram, the jeweled anklet, and Manimekalai, the girdle of gems, and including an incomplete narrative Perunkadai, the great story. The Chivaka Chintamani, the amulet of Chivakan, by Tiruttakka Devar, and Chudamani, the crest jewel, by Tola Molittevar. The last three works depict Jaina kings and their ideals of the good life, non-violence, and attainment of salvation. How? Through self-sacrifice. They are also characterized by excellent descriptions of city and country and by a mixture of supernatural and natural elements. The Shilappadikaram by Ilango Adigal is in three books set in the capitals of the three Tamil kingdoms. Pukar, the Chola capital; Madurai, the Pandya capital; and Vanchi, the Chera capital. The story is not about kings but Kovalan, a young Pukar merchant, telling of his marriage to the virtuous Kannagi, his love for the courtesan Madhavi, and his consequent ruin and exile in Madurai, where he dies unjustly, executed when he tried to sell his wife's anklet to a wicked goldsmith who had stolen the queen's similar anklet and charged Kovalam with the theft. Kannagi, the widow, comes running to the city and shows the king her other anklet, breaks it to prove it is not the queen's. Kannagi's contains rubies and the queen's contains pearls. And proves Kovalani's innocence. Kannagi tears off one breast and throws it at the kingdom of Madurai, which goes up in flames. Such is the power of faithful wife. The third book deals with the Chera king's victorious expedition to the north to bring Himalayan stone for an image of Kannagi, now became a goddess of chastity, mean Pativrata. Next is Manimekalai. Manimekalai, the second twin epic by Chatanar, continues the story of Shilapadikaram. The heroine is Madhavi, Madhavi's daughter, Mayam Kalai, a dancer and a courtesan like her mother. Manimekalai is torn between her passion for is a princely lover and her spiritual yearnings, the first encouraged by her grandmother, the second by her mother. She flees the attentions of the prince, and while he pursues her, she attains magical powers. She changes forms, survives prison, lecherous villains, and other dangers, converts a queen, and finally goes to Pukar, which is being destroyed by oceanic erosion, worships Kannagi, and arrives in Vanji to work in famine relief and to perform penance. Unlike the Silappadikaram, the Manimekala is partisan to Buddhism. It is known for its poetry and its lively discussions of religion and philosophy. Now, Bhakti poetry. From the 16th century onward, a movement with religious origins made itself heard in literature. The movement was that of bhakti, of intense personal devotion to the two principal gods of Hinduism, Shiva and Vishnu. The earliest bhakti poets were the followers of Shiva, the Nayanar, whose first representative was the poetess Karaikal Ammayar, who called herself a pea or a ghostly minion of Shiva and sang ecstatically of his dances. Tirumular was the mystic and reformer in the so-called Siddhanta school of Shaivism, which rejected caste or asceticism and believed that the body is a true temple of Shiva. There were 12 early Nayanar saints, similar poets in the tradition of devotion to the god Vishnu, also belonged to this early period called Alvars. They had as their first Alvars representatives Poigai, Bhutadalvar and Peyalvar, who composed centuries of linked verses, Andadi, in which the final line of a verse is the beginning line of the next, and the final line of the last verse is the beginning of the first, so that a garland is formed. To these alvars, God is the light of lights lit in the heart. Andal, a Vaishnava poetess, is literally love sick for Krishna. Periyalvar, her father, sings of Krishna in the aspect of divine child, originating new genre of celebrant poetry. Kulasekar, or Chera prince, sings of both Rama and Krishna, identifying himself with several roles in the holy legends. A gopi in love with Krishna or his mother Devaki, who misses nursing him, or the exiled Rama's father Dasharatha. Tiruppanalvar, an untouchable poet, sang 10 songs about the god in Srirangam. His eyes, mouth, chest, navel, his claws and feet. To these bhaktas, God is not only love but beauty. His creation is his jewel. In separation, he longs for union as a man longs for him. Tirumangai Alvar, a religious philosopher, probably guru to the Pallava kings and poet of more than 1,000 verses, was apparently responsible for the buildings of many Vaishnava temples. The last of the Alvars, Nammalvar, expresses poignantly both the pain and ecstasy of being in love with God, reviving mythology into revelation. Period of the Tamil Chola Empire. The next period, the time of Tamil Chola Empire, saw an awakening of neighboring literatures, Kannada, Telugu, and Malayalam. The first extant Kannada works is the 9th century Kaviraja Marga, a work of rhetoric rather indebted to Sanskrit rhetoricians, containing the first descriptions of the Kannada country, people, and dialects with references to earlier works. From the 10th century on, Champu narratives become popular both in Kannada and in Telugu, as did renderings as the Sanskrit epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata, and Jaina legends and biography. In Kannada, this period was dominated by the three gems of Jaina literature, Pamba, Ponna, and Ranna, as well as Nagavarma, a 10th century Kannada grammarian. Pampa was the Adikavi, having attained the stature with two great epics, Vikramarjuna Vijaya and Adi Purana. The form is rendering of the Mahabharata with the hero Arjuna identified with the poet's royal patron Arikesari. This felicitous epic is known for its succinct, powerful characterizations, its rich descriptions of Kannada country and court, its moving sentience, and its harmonious blend of Sanskrit and Kannada. While Vikramarjuna is a secular work, Pampa's Adipurana tells the story of the Jaina hero saint Purudeva, his previous lives, his life from birth to marriage to holy death, as well as the lives of his sons Bharata and Bahubali. Telugu had its Adikavi, the Brahmin Nannaya Bhatta, who in Champu style wrote three books of version Mahabharata. The Telugu version is not a literal translation but an interpretation with many local elements and differences of emphasis. For example, Nannaya emphasizes the importance of Vedic religion. Such works have made the Sanskrit epics and Puranas part of a life and growing tradition, both oral and literary, in the regional language. This period also saw the eminence of Kamban's Tamil version of the Ramayana. In him, there is a climatic blend of the earlier Sangam poetry, Tamil epics, the Alvar's favor of personal bhakti toward Rama, folk myths, and Sanskrit stories, meters, and poetic devices. Instead of a just king and a perfect man, Rama is an incarnation of Vishnu, an intense object of devotion, dwarfing the Vedic gods. Kamban called his work Ramavadaram, yet the emphasis is not on Vishnu but on Dharma, localized and Tamilized. More like Sanskrit than Sangam poets, Kamban reveals in elaborated metaphor, hyperbole, and fanciful descriptions of virtue and nature. The work is long, consisting is about 40,000 lines. The Yuddhakandam alone, with the 14 battles, equals the Iliad in length. The poem is also justly known for its variety of style, its exploitation of the resources of Tamil and Sanskrit both in form and content, its humor and its handling of the narrative, dramatic, and lyric models. Kamban's popularity extended not only into all Tamil country but apparently into the north, influencing some episodes of Tulsi's Hindi version of Ramayana, and into northern Kerala, where 32 plays based on the Kamban are enacted ritually with merometers in Shiva temples. Pre 15th century Tamil influence on early Malayalam, the language of Kerala, was strong and led to the literature of Padu. In Indian, which only Dravidian or Tamil phonemes may occur. Tamil like second syllable rims are kept. The best known song in Ramacharita, probably the earliest Malayalam work written in a mixture of Tamil and Malayalam. Other pattus in Tamilized Malayalam, written by family of poets of Niranam in central Travancore, appear in Kannadasan songs in which Tamil conventions of meter and phonology are loosened or more Sanskrit is allowed. Similarly, in style is a version of the Ramayana, Rama Panikkar, and abridged Bhagavad Gita by his uncle Madhava Panikkar, and a condensed Mahabharata, and the 10th book of the Bhagavata Purana by another uncle Shankara Panikkar. As strong as Tamil influence was, the predominant influence on Malayalam was Sanskrit in language as well as a literary form. The influence on language led to a mixture of Sanskrit and Malayalam in a literary dialect called Manipravala. The author of the Leela Tilakam, a 14th century treatise on grammar and poetics, describes both the Tamilizing and Sanskritizing trends and genres and insists on harmonious blendings. Many kinds of poems were composed in Manipravada styles. The Chandrotsavam is a stature on the voluntary Pranipravada tradition, josting together all the famed courtesans of the period. Coexisting with the Tamilized and Sanskritized Malayalam poems produced by scholars was a live pure Malayalam tradition, represented mostly by folk songs and ballads of, for example, Vadukkan, Pattukkan songs sung during the weddings, death or festivals, and folk songs. All three styles, the indigenous folk style, the Tamil, and Sanskrit, began to converge and influence each other by the 15th century in works such as Krishna Pattu and Gatha. Such a grafting reached its full flowing in the 16th century poet Eluttakkan, who popularized the Killipattu, a genre in which The narrator is a parrot, a bee, a swan, and so on. His outstanding works are Adhyatma Ramayanam, Bharatam, Bhagavatam, all based on Sanskrit originals, yet powerfully recreated with masterly language craft. While Vaishnava works were proliferating in Malayalam, Shaiva movements swept the other three languages Tamil, Kannada, and Telugu. In Tamil, the hymns of the Nayanars were arranged and anthologized for scriptural and recitative use by the 11th century. Another such consolidation as sacred materials was Chekkiller's 12th century Periya Puranam, Tondar Puranam, narrating an epic style the lives of the 63 great Saiva scientists. श्रीकांताय कल्याण निधे निधेद्राम श्री वेंकटनिवासाय श्रीनिवासाय मंगलम मंगलाशास्त्र प्रेमदाचार्य पुरोगमी सर्वैश्च पूर्वैराचार्यै सत्कृतायास्तु मंगलम्.